Okay, so let's go on to the news, as it's been a little while, and there are a few news stories to talk about. Let's see here. Starting with probably the big news story of the week was the announcement of a Strike Witches theatrical film. As someone said on Twitter, boy, those are going to be some really big crotch shots. Which, and that's about right. Apparently going to be original story, set up to go to, the film. Interesting thing is this was actually announced on Nico Nico Doga, like the YouTube of Japan. So, like, that's where things get announced these days. Let's see here. So, yes, more Strike Witches. Funimation announced they're going to be simulcasting Kuragehime, and also that they licensed Sora no Otoshimono Forte. I don't care about either of those, so I just wanted to mention that and move on. Big news for Matt and others like him. Manga UK has licensed the Haruhi film.
Woohoo!
Yes, so they get Disappearance probably before we do. I'm beginning to wonder whether we're going to get, it'll be easier to just import the Manga UK DVD instead of waiting for it to come out over here. Manga UK also licensed the second season of Haruhi Suzumiya and Haruhi-chan. They also have those. They also mentioned that they've licensed K-On! And Birdie the Money Decode. And while Bees Entertainment has got House of Five Leaves and Tommy Galaxy, while MVM Entertainment announced Tower of Druaga, I don't know why, because Tower of Druaga nobody seems to like, so that's strange.
One thing you mentioned Haruhi-chan. I've actually seen some of the clips on the English dub. You can find them online.
Yeah.
It's good. It's just not great. It's the same characters and everything, same voice actors.
Yeah.
Crispin Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other one I can remember. Stephanie Sheh, obviously.
Mm.
And it's just English voices don't suit that kind of crazy entertainment. Of certain American voices, all that kind of Japanese crazy entertainment. I watched some of my favorite scenes were in the clips you got to watch, and they just weren't as funny.
Well, and it's hard because it's a much more goofy style of storylines. So, yeah, and they're short.
Yeah, and they also try to Americanize it. There's this one scene, people that have watched it. Have you watched it, Brent?
I've watched bits and pieces of Haruhi-chan.
Right. Well, there's this one scene, a Valentine's Day scene, and Kyon and Itsuki dress up as what's called male escorts.
Right.
But it's actually supposed to be hosts, because most people know male escort means male prostitute.
Right.
So that was a very poor translation.
Yeah.
Thought I'd point that out. It was very funny pointing that out to all my friends that loved the English dub. Man, this is hot. I'll put it back on in a minute.
That was actually scarier than Batman himself. Seeing someone like rip the mask off, that was like that's great.
Anyway, it's also really hard to hear my own voice, so
sure.
I end up yelling, and I don't like that. But what was I saying? Yes, the scene was supposed to be Americanized, and they used the phrase "holla," and it was ruined.
Yeah.
It's like, to repeat the line. One of the lines is, "I'm Itsuki, the Crimson Super Ball. Guess why they call me that? Holla!" And I was watching this, just thinking, no, that.
Yeah.
No. It was awful.
Yeah, and it's funny because that reminds me of a something that happened with Dot Hack actually when they were working on the Dot Hack OVA. Crispin Freeman himself plays Bombing of the Azure Sky, and there's a sequence where his character comes in and he's trying to. The original line is something like, this party is really hopping. And they wanted Balmung to appear to be really behind the times. So Crispin Freeman said, we can do better than that. So when he comes in, Balmung of the Azure Sky goes in and says, "My, this shindig is the bomb diggity."
That is so bad.
And every other character looks at him like, "What did you just say?" And and that works because you're trying to find just the right words. But then of course we've all come across all sorts of other things where it just the line just don't work. So okay.
The woman, just one real quick point as
Sure.
well. only voice that really fit was the woman that does the English dub for Asakura. Her voice fit perfectly.
Yeah.
You know, she should be doing cartoons like that.
Very bubbly. Bubbly voice. Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so let's see here. Let me make sure I'm on the right. Yeah. So in other licensing news, well, not licensing news, but new anime news, there's going to be another Appleseed thing. They keep on making new Appleseed. Fortunately, they're doing it, in my opinion, right this time, because they're going to be doing a series for Appleseed. Now, for those of you who don't know, Appleseed was originally a manga by Masamune Shirow, who did Ghost in the Shell, and it's like 3 or 4 volumes long, so there's a lot of story there. And all the movies and OVAs have never really been able to tell that story properly. So they're finally going to do a 13-episode series, which will probably tell a good chunk of that story. It will not be a sequel, it'll be a remake, retelling. And they've got a pretty darn good crew planned for it. Takayuki Hamada will be directing. He did Library War and Prince of Tennis and a bunch of other stuff. Production IG will be doing it, which is always good for these things. Takayuki Goto, who worked on Ghost in the Shell's second gig, and Hunter x Hunter and Video Girl I and other stuff, will be doing character designs. And Atsushi Takeuchi will be doing the mecha designs. He also worked on Ghost in the Shell and Skycrawlers and Raideen and the Appleseed films. So good, good cast. Hopefully they'll be able to adapt this in a way that actually really works for Appleseed. We'll see. Some promos dropped this week for the new Angel Beats final episode that they're doing. So that was kind of exciting. Folks were looking at that. I want to see which one. I don't think I could pull down that one. No, I couldn't. There was a trailer for Oedo Rocket and Maria Sama, and I believe I have a trailer for Oedo Rocket, so let's watch that real quick. And again, for those on Flickr, on YouTube, here's where that disappears, because we have to break tape for this.
Here are some pictures of some kittens to pass the time.